Welcome to the LRM podcast, sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance. I'm Steve Miller, and joining me is not Martin, because Martin has lost his voice. And before everyone says, thank goodness, joining me is Alice, my colleague.
Hello, I'm Alice Sumner-Andrews, and I work on Land Rover Monthly with Steve and Martin.
So you have a pleasurable job of working with me and Martin.
Lucky me.
Alice, for people that have probably picked up already, you're the voice of the Adrian Flux adverts.
I am indeed, yes. I wear many hats here at LRM HQ. I also look after the advertising, and for most of the people coming to Land Rover Monthly live show, they will know that I'm also the person that helps booking in the trade.
And talking about shows, so we're recording this on the Tuesday, so anyone that listens to this the day it goes out will be the next day.
Yes.
Which is still ahead of our show this weekend.
It will, yeah. You'll be listening to this tomorrow, where we'll be pootling our way over to Malvern to start getting set up for the show, which is really exciting.
And this being our third year at LRM Live. You've worked on it, 2 years?
Yeah, this will be my second year. I did come to the first year, but I hadn't actually technically started the job yet. So last year I was heavily involved with the show, and this is the third year. So I'm really excited to see how it all goes, because it's really grown, it's really evolved in terms of visitors and trade and entertainment. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
And the good thing is, yesterday, so I went home, set up all my camping stuff.
Yeah.
It's all packed. So my camping trailer, which I'm going to do a little walk around video of actually when I'm there.
Excellent.
A lot of people have actually asked for a view of it.
Yeah.
Finally sort of finished it, I would say. Haven't painted it.
Finished.
Kind of finished.
Okay, well, see, this time last year, you'd only just finished actually building the initial, let's say, Mark 1 of the trailer.
It was a frame, wasn't it? With a reef tent on the top. Now it's all enclosed.
Yeah.
Drawers in the back that I've made. So I'm really excited to use it. I can't wait. I literally can't wait. So the Land Rovers are hooked up to the trailer.
All ready to go, all packed.
Wheels are ready to roll.
Fabulous. And we have the lovely job of filling the work van with all of the lovely LRM branding, banners for the arena, banners from sponsor Optimal and flags, and we've got all of that to do. And then I will also be filling up the van with camping stuff. I quite like to, I know we do say that Martin is head of catering at the shows, but
only when he doesn't ruin the hilly.
When he doesn't burn he's never going to live that down.
No, burnt sauce. No, actually, he's good. He is good.
Yeah, and I like to do sort of chefy stuff, don't I? I bring herbs and butters and fancy ingredients and kind of faff around at the end of the night. But that really for us, each evening when it's a little bit quiet and we get to all just sit down and look at the hills, and it really does all feel worth all the hard work and effort that goes into that show.
But I'm really excited because the weather is going to be superb. We've got blue skies, beautiful sunshine. So yeah. Anyway, quickly moving on, because after this podcast, we're loading the van and we're out of here.
Yes.
For a few days.
So it'll have to be a short one today, I'm afraid, won't it?
Well, I don't know. The way you talk, I might be here for 2 hours. But anyway, I think... so Martin has been quite organised and he's given us some of the latest listeners' questions.
He has indeed, yes.
Let's hear some.
Let me put some questions to you. So this question comes from James Watling. He says, "Hi Martin and Steve, I hope you're well and all's good in LRM world. I have a question which you're welcome to share on your wonderful podcast if you so wish. I have a modest budget, circa 10k. Would you consider that modest?
To buy a Land Rover, yeah, I think
Excellent.
so. Yeah.
So, with which to buy a vehicle for overlanding, well, camping anyway, and for kitting out with roof tent, awning, and the usual camping kit to take the family to Scotland and Europe on holidays. It needs to be reliable, comfortable, and have reasonable running costs. Yes, I know it's a Land Rover. And be a good platform to build a decent overland truck. We currently have in the family a Series 3 109 in pieces and a Disco 3 daily driver, but I'd like something specifically for going away so I don't have to keep bolting bits off and on again to save fuel on the daily runs. What are your thoughts? Another Disco 3? Maybe a lower tax bracket manual, a Disco 1 or 2 if I can find one without the dreaded tin worm, or the trusty Defender 110. All have pros and cons, I know that, but what would you say ticks most of the boxes? Thanks so much, and please keep up the good work."
Well, thank you, James, for that question. Right, so I did have a quick read of this moments ago.
Pre-podcast.
Yeah, kind of to get an idea. When myself and Martin sit here, we always have a default kind of vehicle that we keep going back to.
Yeah.
And that for me is a Discovery 2 2D5.
Okay.
Because And you might not know this.
I'm not a Land Rover person, for those listening. I mean, I love Land Rovers, but I'm not a knowledgeable historic owner. So please treat me as a completely ignorant person and educate me.
So for me, for family transport, for something that you could off-road, the entry points are £10,000 to get it kitted out.
Yeah.
Say if you spent £5,000-ish on a Discovery 2,
Yep.
and then the other £5,000 on... I mean, really, you want to look out for one with either a new chassis. £10,000 will buy you one with a galvanised chassis.
Right, but 5,000 might not.
5,000 might get you a decent one. It might have had a half chassis because you can get sections. That's where they
right.
the rear half of the chassis.
So they replace part of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, which is absolutely perfect as long as it's been done properly. So I would consider Discovery 2 as the perfect one.
Lovely.
He mentions Discovery 3 with the lower tax bracket. So in the UK, tax is nearly £800 a year on a I think it's post 2006 Discovery 3.
Right, okay.
So, but it's based on emissions.
That is a fair chunk, isn't it?
But to get one at nearly £400 tax, you
Yeah.
only got the 2005 ones to go at.
Right, so less choice. Okay.
And there's not much of that, not many of those around.
Right, I see.
They've normally got about 1 million miles on the clock.
They've been running to the
Triggers
ground,
brilliant. Yeah, the manuals aren't as nice to drive as the autos, I have to say.
Okay.
And if you go into Europe, I don't know, it's Discovery 2.
Discovery 2, okay. And that will still give him enough sort of budget tuck to kind of get all the kit he's looking for as well, you think?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
So 10 grand, if you mentioned Discovery 1. Discovery 1's are good, 300 TDIs. Again, you can get a good one, but they are now on the up, as are Discovery 2s. So
Right,
now is
okay.
probably the best time to get Discovery 2.
Yep.
Discovery 1's 10,000 would get you a really nice one. Then it's probably, I don't know, too nice to use. If you're not getting to that point.
Okay.
And Defender 110s, you'd need, I think, all of the money
Just to get the vehicle.
just to get the base vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, I do take a look at the vehicles that get listed for sale on the website. So I have got a rough idea. And yeah, for 10K, you probably wouldn't have much money left for a roof tent, would you?
No, and all the other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And then it's a compromised driving experience to go on to longer trips.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Louise, my wife, the other day starts going, why can't we buy a Discovery 2? That's her default setting.
Okay.
Because she loves or loved owning Discoveries or driving them over and above our 90. She sees that as not that practical.
So is there room on the driveway for a Discovery 2, Steve?
It'll be a one in, one out
Right.
thing.
So you'll have to get rid of one to get... Okay. No, that makes sense.
And I don't really want to sell anything, so...
Fix you up for now.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Well, it seems like, James, the answer is a Disco 2.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fantastic recommendation. And thank you for your question. Moving on. Dylan Langston. Hi, Martin and Steve. Love the magazines. I'm subscribed. Thanks very much, Dylan. And love reading them every month. Also love the podcast. Stick it on in the car or doing bits around the house. The missus will usually listen to the first 10 minutes or so and then get bored. Sorry. Although she does love spotting Land Rovers when out and about taking photos of her favourite ones. We went down to Malvern from Scotland last year and we loved it. Admittedly, she loved the dog show the most, but gave me an excuse to window shop in peace. Speaking of, we are doing the dog show again on both days.
Yeah.
I'm 21 and I've been restoring a 1988 Defender 110 for the past year or so, now that I bought off my uncle who had owned it for 10 plus years but hadn't been driven or MOT'd since 2017. The Landy, named Frank as he's an F-Reg, has many upgrades and modifications, few to mention: a 300 TDI engine, galvanised chassis, variable nozzle turbo, 2-inch lift kit with some mud terrains on, and some classic Range Rover seats, and many more, as you can imagine. Hope to have it back on the road and MOT'd in the next week or so, and be able to head down from Scotland to a few of the Land Rover shows coming up. My question is, what are your top tips for daily driving or long drives in an older Land Rover? And is there anything that you'd recommend to have handy in the back, either for emergencies or nice to have? You're doing a brilliant job. Keep up the good work.
Well, what a nice email.
Thanks, Dylan. That's
Yeah.
absolutely lovely.
So hopefully Dylan's going to find himself down at LRM live this coming weekend.
It sounds like it, because we've got the dog show, but we've also got loads more going off this year. So please, let us know. But we'd love to see you there.
I wonder if Dylan's other half is this the first 10 minutes? Because she should have switched off by now.
Oh, yeah, we've definitely got past that point. Yeah,
Have we?
she won't be listening anymore.
She won't be listening, so we can say everything we want.
Yeah.
Obviously not. So, so the question is, daily driving. I mean, really, yeah. You've got classic Range Rover seats in it, so it's going to be a lot more comfortable than standard.
Right, I see. So that's like a normal, you'd say a standard upgrade if you want to just improve what you've got comfort-wise. Range Rover Classics are comfy.
Or I mean, you can go. I mean, seat options for Defenders is endless.
Yeah.
Come and see the likes of Exmoor Trim at our show.
Yeah.
Lucari. You can spend thousands on leather interiors, or you can get some vinyl upgrades.
Okay.
Or you can go to the autojumble and buy some rental seats. It's all there for you. But top tips for day driving: keep it serviced.
Yes.
You've already got a galvanised chassis, so that's not going to rust. It's a 300 TDI. It won't go wrong.
Okay.
Make sure you've changed the belts.
Yep.
Do an oil change. Do the filter change. Make sure there's no oil leaking out here, then everywhere, because they do.
Yeah.
Address any concerns. Do your suspension bushes. Crack on, really. Long drives in an old Land Rover is anything that you'd recommend to have handy. You don't really need endless amounts of tools to fix one.
Don't jinx it, Steve.
I'm just thinking about the one and only time I couldn't get home in my TD5 Land Rover, right? And I could have any tool I wanted, it still wasn't going to get it home because an electronic thing to do with the throttle pedal,
which you can't do.
And I didn't have a spare throttle pedal, so I was buggered basically.
Okay.
But with a 300 TDI, there's a few things. It might be hoses, so you might want a set of screwdrivers and a few spanners. But really, there's not a lot to stop them.
Okay.
So I wouldn't take too much with you. Yeah.
My other question was going to be, obviously talking about comfort for long drives, is it quite standard that they have an amount of noise proofing, or would you suggest if there's no noise proofing, get yourself a kit, get it fitted? How much difference do you think it makes?
I've got noise suppression stuff in my Land Rover, and it did make a difference. So if you've got 110-ish,
driving from Scotland to Malvern is a long old drive.
Yeah.
If you've got a rattle or a bit of road noise or...
There's an interesting point you made, right?
Yeah.
I have an annoying whistle in my Land Rover.
Oh, no.
And it's from the passenger side vents, the vent panels that open up.
Where the wind's coming.
So it doesn't seal properly.
Okay.
And that's annoyed me now for 4 years.
Why haven't you done something about it?
It will not. It's not the seal. I don't know what it is.
It out.
My God. And every time I drive it long distance, I need to address that.
Annoying.
Any air coming in or air leaks and doors that don't align really do add to the pain, say, of driving a Defender over long distance.
Yeah, if you're driving it for more than a couple of hours, unless you've got a really decent sound system, because that's the other thing, obviously the road noise and the rattling is so loud that you really do have to turn things up. But yeah, it was just a question purely. I've never sort of done a like-for-like comparison, but I do know that noise kits, I think Noise Killer, they're going to come to the show. They do those sorts of noise kits.
Yeah.
And they kind of
really
they sell them that you can fit them yourselves, or you can take your vehicle in and get it fitted. But yeah, noise would annoy me.
One thing that Dylan has mentioned though, so his Land Rover has mud tyres. If he's driving all the way from Scotland to Malvern, I would change your tyres to an all-terrain, because the noise coming up through the chassis, through the vibrations of the muds.
Yeah.
Unless you're really needing muds, I would probably go to for longer distance. Better for fuel economy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, you get a lot more drag on a mud tyre.
Okay.
So much better for long distance. I would
change tyres.
Change tyres.
You're driving for more than a couple of hours, you're definitely. I mean, we know it's not going to rain, and that you won't need your mud tyres. So, yeah.
The other thing I'll do, so for emergencies, really, just have breakdown cover.
Yeah.
Because with a Land Rover, you can't really tow them because they're permanent four-wheel drive. So you need to.
Yeah.
So ideally, you'd have a low loader, say the AA or RAC.
Yeah, something like that can just turn up, take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
And then you can get it fixed when you've got time.
But talking about Land Rovers going wrong.
Yes.
You've got something to say.
I have actually, yes.
So now, because we're organised, you're absolutely poised with the paperwork.
I am ready. Now, yes, this comes from leading law firm Lee Day, which is Leigh Day. And they have a paid for shout out because they want to make our listeners aware of something. So, Important information for Land Rover, Range Rover and Jaguar owners. Law firm Leaday is bringing a group claim against Jaguar Land Rover over alleged defects in diesel particulate filters, or DPFs. The claim covers certain diesel models which may have suffered performance issues, unexpected repairs or increased fuel consumption due to alleged defective DPF systems. So if you've owned or leased an eligible Land Rover, Range Rover or Jaguar between 2015 and 2023, you could be eligible to claim thousands in compensation. Head to leadaylaw.info/JLR-DPF to check if your vehicle qualifies. We will also be putting this into our next email editorial, so if you want to look for links or search their website, it's LEIGHDAY Law, so you can find them online. There you go.
Job done.
Job done.
So, interestingly, so talk about email. If anyone wants to sign up for our email newsletter, there's lots of great stuff that goes out. You compile some of those, don't you?
I do.
New products and
so we've obviously got the editorial newsletter, which usually comes out just before the mag goes on sale, which is from Martin. A couple of little teaser kind of articles, any events that we've got going on. We've actually started an events email as well, which goes out once a month, and that will list local, national, green laning. Shows like ours, like LRM Live, like our autojumbles. So that one's a good one. If you like to kind of keep yourself busy, book your calendar out, then check out that one. And then we do send out a products and accessories email at the end of every month, which has got new products, special offers, and it's, things like this, competitions sometimes as well. So definitely if you head to landrovermonthly.co.uk, I think it's top right on the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get lots of lovely stuff in your inbox.
And it's free.
It costs you nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, all good stuff. So moving on, I bet everyone can't wait for Martin to come back. Not that you're not doing a good job, but it's unusual to sit here with somebody else, not Martin.
It is.
We're like ant and deck.
Yeah, it probably does feel odd for you.
And all of us have like a big forehead.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, speak for yourself. So we do have another question, actually, which comes from our friend Ian Arthur from Cherish Vehicle Insurance.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
So he says, hello, Steve. In response to your ribbing of Martin about his potential choice to keep his 110's 2.5 non-turbo diesel instead of fitting something good on the recent podcast, you had a question about insurance and the potential price increase of such conversion should he be sensible enough to bin the naturally asthmatic... What? This doesn't make any sense to me. You might have to explain it.
Oh, yeah, I will.
I can confirm the addition of a 200-300 V8 or a TD5 would not incur any increase in premium. It would, however, mean you won't run out of steam on a 3% incline. Kind regards, Ian Arthur. I think I know what this is about now. I get it.
Yeah, you get it. So basically, and I hope our listeners don't think for 1 minute, like, I'm ridiculing anyone that's got naturally aspirated diesel engine in their vehicle. I've owned that engine 3 times,
right,
in 3 different vehicles, and they're good for what they are.
Yeah,
but
they could be better.
You wouldn't want a daily one, really.
Okay,
not if you had any distance to travel.
So
to Martin is obviously, for those who have never listened to this podcast before, is fixing up his field find 110 naturally aspirated diesel. It's a 110, almost ready for MOT now. So anyone that's been watching us on YouTube, head over to YouTube, have a look at it when we first found it, have a look at it with all the jobs it has since done. It's almost ready for the MOT.
This is the one.
He's yet to drive it.
See, this is the one I watched him emptying the back of it and all the amusing and disgusting finds.
Yeah.
Okay. I know which one. Yeah.
It was rather smelly.
It was quite disgusting.
Good vehicles, but it's what's interesting what Ian said, actually. So without an incurring any increase in premium, that's one of the cheapest forms of Land Rover ownership is an early Land Rover like that, because it's tax and MOT exempt.
Yes.
Although he is MOTing it, because quite rightly you want to make sure that everything's
all above board and everything's correct.
So when something's 40 years or older, here it's tax and MOT exempt.
Nice.
Insurance premiums aren't a great deal, so check out some of the premiums out there for classic Land Rovers.
Yeah.
Motoring.
Yeah.
And stick a 300 TDI in it, you won't go wrong.
To be fair, I actually remember when I was first doing my driving test. My dad said all those years ago, don't bother getting a little modern car. He's always said, get yourself a classic car because they're dirt cheap. It might not be dirt cheap at first if you're a new driver, but when you've got used to driving and you've been going for a couple of years, he always said, just get yourself a little old banger. You wouldn't believe how cheap the insurance and tax and everything is.
So here's a question then. That you just alluded to something, because you're driving a company car, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Which is a Vauxhall Mocha, is it?
It is Vauxhall Mocha, yeah.
Yeah. You've obviously been around Land Rovers because you were ex-LRO, aren't you? So Land Rover owner.
Yeah, I know.
Because you did work for Land Rover owner for a few years.
I worked for Land Rover Owner and other magazines. So that was one of multiple. I worked on a couple of classic magazines and Land Rover Owner. But yes.
So we were like competitors, weren't we?
We were, and we used to bump into each other at various different gigs and events and stuff like that. And people would play pranks on us. If you remember, there was one time we sat down for a dinner and they'd swapped our magazine names round on purpose. So it said Steve Miller, Land Rover Owner, and Alice Sumner-Andrews, Land Rover Monthly.
Do you think they played a prank, or do you think it was...
Or maybe they just got it wrong.
I think they got it wrong.
Yeah, probably. But we found it funny. So yes, what's your question?
So my question was, right, so if you could buy a Land Rover now, what would you buy?
So
Having never owned one.
Having never owned one. I mean, I have to say, because I do listen to the podcast and I have found it really quite entertaining and educational, surprisingly. So you can take that as a compliment.
Thanks.
You do talk about Disco 2s quite a lot. And I'm somebody who loves adventures. Love going on adventures. I've driven all the way across Europe down to Italy and back over the space of a week before, and just sort of pop up a tent, then get up the next day, decide where I'm going to drive. That would have been so much easier in something like a Disco 2, because I had quite a small SUV and there wasn't the ability to add a roof tent. So I would probably go down that route, but also have to do quite a lot of driving for work. So something reliable. So I think the Disco 2 would probably tick those boxes. And there's room for me to kind of personalise it and add some little quirky touches. I really love it when people have got quite a nice little kitchen setup in the back where you open them. Because I think Disco 2s have got the big, what do you call it? It's
the rear door. The
rear door.
Side opening.
Yeah, so you sort of swing that open, and I'd have some sort of setup where you can kind of pop out a little table and you put your little camp stove on. And yeah, I think I'd go for something like a Disco 2. Or, I think that would be a really good starting vehicle, because having never owned or driven a Land Rover, I'd want to kind of get used to the feel of something that big, you know.
Well, the point of entry isn't going to break the bank for Discovery. I was looking on classifiers the other day at Discovery 2s, purely because my wife Louise, when you get the green light from someone mentioning, you should get this, I do keep looking, and I think, I'll just stick with, I do like my 90.
Yeah, it is. The thing is, you put a lot of effort into...
Too much has gone into it now to reverse back out, because they're selling a really good car to somebody else.
It's sunk cost fallacy, it's called, isn't it? Where you put so much time and effort in that you're not willing to give something up, even if it means a new opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not bored with it. So I would try and, I would probably try and create an opportunity to have another car.
Another one.
I just can't do it.
You can't justify.
I'm out of room. I'm run out of room.
The other thing I just remembered, I went to go and see, I don't think they might have been bought out now, but Long Ranger did a really, really cute little pickup conversion.
Oh, yes.
And I loved the look of it.
You can still buy those kits.
And you were saying that actually if you bought the sort of donor vehicle and the kit and everything, it wouldn't cost you that much, because I quite like that idea as well, of having like a kind of some sort of tent in the pickup part, and I don't know, just something a bit quirky and a bit different.
Yeah, it's a Long Ranger. They sold the mouldings, so basically it's a pickup conversion for Discovery 1s and 2s.
That's it, yeah.
And of old classic Range Rovers, although you wouldn't probably butcher one of them now.
No, they're too nice to butcher, aren't they?
But Discovery 2s are almost getting to that point, but there was enough of them around to still warrant doing it. So I think the kit was around £850, wasn't it?
I was really surprised. That's not a lot at all.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would start off with just a nice, decent, half-decent Discovery 2, poodle around in that for a bit just to get used to driving a Land Rover, really. And then when I feel a bit more confident, maybe go and buy myself a conversion kit and go, Martin.
I'll just get the angle grinder out and cut the roof line, and that's it. It's kind of as brutal as that.
Is it really?
Yeah. You basically just, measure twice, cut once is probably the perfect thing to say here. But you cut the roof line, and you would need to then replace the rear wings where the doors were. If it was a 4-door,
Yeah.
the rear wings are part of the conversion.
Right,
They
okay.
block what would have been the door.
Yes.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really, really cool.
So yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would go for that because I do like to do quirky things, and I'd have a nice little copper sort of orangey paint job of some sort done on it, definitely. Because that's
to match your hair.
to match my hair. Yes.
No, it's in your hair. So you've got like a gingery colour hair. You're really clashing with our salmon sofa.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're not exactly. Yeah,
Salmon's not my colour.
so when we had Greg King on the podcast as guest speaker, he said, "Oh, I love the salmon sofa."
Oh God,
This is quite dated, isn't it?
it is a bit.
Alan-
You could just chuck a nice blanket over it or something, or just get a new sofa. We need like those really cool, on like Clarkson's farm, they've got those nice Chesterfield sofas, the leather ones and the armchairs. I feel like that would be a lot more fitting, but
in here.
not sure if the LRM podcast budget can afford that.
Do you know how much is in the LRM podcast budget?
No.
No, well, zero.
Nothing.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because I create the budgets.
Oh, so you just click your fingers.
Yeah.
Ding, look, there's a Chesterfield sofa.
Yeah, well, you've made us think now because we could actually film this.
Yeah.
People could see it.
We should. I think people would actually, like to watch you guys sort of interact and answer questions and stuff. But yeah.
Well, we are taking our on the road podcast stuff to LRM Live.
Yes.
Martin's keen on doing a podcast.
In the beer tent, do you think, or somewhere else? The beer tent could be a bit rowdy.
No, probably, yeah. Not probably in the beer tent this time round, but recording one whilst we're there. Because then you've got the atmosphere of a show.
Yeah.
I'll be knackered. It's how it works.
We'll be knackered because the other thing you don't think about, and I didn't think about this planning for going on site last year, was if you're in a tent or even a roof tent, there's no protection from the noise of the birds. And we were in a corner with all the trees. So as soon as the birds wake up, that's it, you're up. So 5 o'clock in the morning some days. And then you're up letting in traders, looking for clubs, making sure the campers are getting put in where they need to. And you're on your feet all day, all the way through till, the evening, because you still have to keep an eye out and make sure everyone's safe, don't you? Because that is the job, being an event organiser.
There's a lot that goes in behind the scenes.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
We're proud to partner with Adrian Flux, an insurance broker that specialises in covering all types of Land Rovers, including classic, ex-military, modified and Q-plated models. Adrian Flux offers a range of optional extras to make the policy your own and can provide cover for off-roading, green laning, agreed value and build-up cover. Plus, they even offer a discount of up to 15% for Owners Club members. Simply search Adrian Flux Land Rover Insurance for more information or call them directly on 0344 728 0417 for a quote.
Anyway, so we're back, and what I thought actually we could talk about, because I don't think we've had a product of the week for a little while.
No, we haven't, have we? Because you guys have so many listeners' questions from Martin's two weeks with interviews, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because he did
so
the guys
check out,
from RSOS.
Absolutely, Fuzz and Tim.
Then he did Mike,
Samson,
that was it.
the designer of the Discovery.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to both of those podcasts.
Yeah, so I'm even as somebody who doesn't know much about Land Rovers, I'm quite nerdy, and I found it really interesting to understand the whole process behind designing a vehicle and all the differences of here's your budget and you're allowed 60% of this vehicle and 40% new parts. I had no
because
idea
they
about
didn't have a big budget.
Yeah.
That's why. And it just goes to show you, so the vehicle that kind of saved Land Rover is kind of the one that they did probably on the least budget.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really was.
So anyway,
Product
of the week. And this is from the guys at LOS Off-Road. And in fact, they're coming to our show.
They will be
this
a
weekend.
couple of stands down from the LRM tent, won't they? I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So this is the theme of shows, isn't it? You got the site plan in your head.
I've got the floor plan in my head. Yeah.
So these are side storage boxes. We were talking about camping in the Land Rover and long distance. So this is to compartmentalise the back of your classic Defender or Series Land Rover with these storage baskets. So basically, they're shaped to fit the vehicle's barrel sides. They're ventilated to prevent moisture build-up and come with a latched lid. It's provided with a full fitting kit, including the parts required to fix into a TDCI rear tub. The reason why a TDCI rear tub is basically a slightly different shape.
Oh, so
is that
it's
of an oil
shape.
It's got like a little a
originally.
raised area. So, and these are really handy because over the top of your wheel arches in the back of your Land Rover, it's storage. There's an opportunity for storage.
So it's sort of like wasted space, and that fits perfectly into it, so that you can
put all your valuables in there. No
Yeah.
one's going to know it's in there.
Oh, lovely.
£252.
That's not bad at all.
So check them out on lrsoffroad.co.uk.
Or come and see them at the show.
Yeah, more sort of point. Yeah. And don't forget, if you are listening to this on the Wednesday, as far as I'm aware, there's still camping tickets available.
Not a lot, but there are.
There aren't many, so get in quick.
Yeah.
And also day tickets.
Definitely.
Save a few quid on the gate.
Yeah, you'll save a couple of quid. With camping, as we say, we'll never try to turn people away, but there is always a limit, and you will save quite a bit if you book in advance rather than just rocking up and buying a ticket. So yeah.
Found a useful product for you here. We're going to have a second product of the week.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm feeling generous.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in the camping vibe.
Yeah, I love storage solutions, gadgets, all of that sort of stuff, because I like to cram in everything apart from the kitchen sink.
So you know how you want to use my fridge to store your things in?
Yeah.
And I only have a limb to the mountain room. I have a Dometic fridge.
It's a good one.
It's a heavy old thing, but
it's small.
It's quite substantial, but it's not actually. It's quite big for my things.
But when everybody else starts going, Steve, can I put my milk
in your
in?
fridge?
Yeah. Or can I put a beer in there? Or yeah.
What I recommend is that people go and buy from Exmoor Trim a Yeti cooler box.
Oh, Yeti.
So Yeti's a great brand. In fact, you've got a Yeti.
I'm drinking from a Yeti. Right, yeah, they also do.
Would you call that a mug or flask?
I call it a flask. Yeah, this is their Rambler flask, I think it's called.
I have one of those.
They're lovely. I cannot tell you. In fact, I've written a review in the mag for it because it just keeps things so hot or so cold for so long. But yes, so.
But talk about cooling things. So cooler box from Exmoor Trim, because they're now stocking the Yeti products.
They are indeed, yeah.
It's a rugged cool box. It's capable of carrying up to 33 cans of drink. That'll keep Martin in beer for one night.
Or me in wine for 2.
Yeah. Or 26 kilograms of ice you can put in this.
Wow.
It features a hefty hauler handle for ease and comfortable carrying, non-slip feet, leak-proof drain plug, and quick latch for one-handed cooler access.
Okay.
It'll carry most standard wine bottles. There you go.
Nice.
Or 2-litre pop bottles, but being narrow enough to stand up behind the front seats of most Land Rovers.
That's handy.
Excluding two-seat commercials, obviously, because there's average seats. 225 quid.
Okay, can I have a look? I'm going to look at the pictures.
You do. You want them, don't you?
See, I love Yeti stuff, and I'm getting bombarded with adverts for them on Facebook now.
Because you clicked on one.
It's because I've bought one.
Okay.
And also, I can't remember if it's a TikTok or if it was a Facebook video, but they also now do customised engraving, which is very nice. So before you buy it, you can upload a logo or a name or something, and they will laser engrave it onto the cups. And it looks amazing.
Oh, there you go.
They're a really nice brand. But yeah, for 200 quid-ish, that would keep everything nice and cool for a few days at least, wouldn't it?
You definitely need, especially now when we're going to be in for 25 degrees this weekend.
It's going to be boiling. We're going to need factor 50 and we're going to need hats, aren't we?
Anyway, so conscious of time here because I know
we need to go.
We have a van turning up from our friends at Enterprise to load up.
Yes, we do.
We're going to call it. Thank you ever so much for listening. If you do come to LRM Live, come and say hello.
Yeah.
Alice, myself, Martin. We've got Neil Watson will be there.
He's coming, isn't he?
Trevor Cuthbert's coming.
Is he?
So long-term technical contributor to LRM.
Oh, let's go. Any tech questions people can.
Alice Acoustic.
Yep.
Photographer extraordinaire.
Vicky Turner is also coming.
Vicky Turner,
She was LRO, but does do stuff for Land Rover Life now.
Land Rover Life within LRM.
Yeah, there'll be loads of
loads of us actually. Wow. So if that's enough to put you off, don't come. But we'll see you again next week. Thanks ever so much for listening.
Thanks and goodbye.
Bye for now.
Bye.